guys. There you are. It's really easy to lose track of time these days when there's no bells ringing or alarms going off to get us to where we need to be when we're used to being there. I am so excited to speak to you at your ELP promotion this year. This is my 12th year giving these speeches and watching these amazing middle school students grow up to become high school students and start to forge their own paths. And I want to thank Seiji and his presidency for inviting me to give you a few words as we get ready for our next steps. I never expected that I would have to do a speech like this, and in fact, I gotta be honest, it's a lot easier to do in person. I mean, even TED Talks get to have an audience, and then we get to benefit from that interaction. But I will do my best, because at West High, we do hard things. One of the things that's been amazing to me in this time that we've been away from the school building is to recognize how much I think we crave that social interaction, how much being with other students and being with our teachers and being with people inspires us and helps us to become our best selves. But one of the things that always happens when our world changes is that advertisers tend to take advantage of that. So today I wanted to share with you a few of the advertisements that have caught my eye in this time of the coronavirus, and maybe it's brighten your day for a minute, but also maybe inspire you a little bit. Some of the advertisers are just kind of funny. Popeyes says, fried chicken and chill. There's a Malaysian advertising company who also seems to really like chickens. And it says, the chicken itself says, seize the day bed. Live life to the emptiest. Chicken is the new brave. Uber tells you thank you for not riding. Cottonelle encourages you to share a square. And Burger King, I think, is my favorite. It says, be a true couch patriot. Some of the advertisers have decided instead to offer us a little bit of advice. Tylenol says, stay healthy, stay safe, stay home. Visa tells us to wash our hands like an Olympian. And there's a US advertising company that says, be a hero, be boring. But as usual, I'm not always looking for messages that entertain or tell me things I already know. I'm looking for messages that help me to remember what's important in life and help me to become a better person, to do the right thing, to find ways, even in this time of crisis, to make the world a better place. So Ann Taylor says to us, we are better together, even when we're apart. And I want to talk about what that means to me for a little bit. When you come to West as an ELP student, it's tough. You have to qualify. You have to demonstrate that you need a different type of education than you might get at a different middle school. That there's something unique about you as a human, that you're capable of learning at a little faster rate, or you might have ideas that you're passionate about and want to explore. You have talents, you have intelligence, you have capacity. But what makes ELP truly unique is that we bring all of your individual talents, all of your individual skills and abilities, and we put you with a group of students who are a lot like you. And what that does is it helps us all to become better together. Now, since we've been gone for the last 2.5 months, it might feel like you're not together that much anymore, but I want to share a story that's really touched my heart. When we left, and the virus was just spreading to the United States, some of our fine arts students in the IB program hadn't begun their collaborative work. And IB had sent out a message that told us that there were low-level tasks or low-risk tasks that the students could complete with no problem, and some medium-risk tasks, and then some high-risk tasks. And they asked us not to have the students complete those high-risk tasks. And of course, those that involved collaboration were those that became the most difficult for our students to complete. Well, as time went on a little bit further, we left the building, and IB decided we wouldn't be giving IB exams anymore, but that we were still required to complete all of the tasks that are due before the actual May exams. One of those was the collaborative film project. And I was just sick. I didn't know how to ask our IB seniors to make a movie together in an incredibly shortened timeline. They now had about 15 days to do that. And I was worried. I was concerned that those students wouldn't be able to complete that task, and therefore they wouldn't be able to earn their IB diplomas. But these 3 former ELP students, and every one of them was an ELP student in your shoes 4 years ago, they figured it out. They started to call each other, and they were willing to put together a group chat where they were consistently responsible to each other and to us as teachers and program coordinators. There were daily conversations through electronic means that we were able to record and be part of. They connected with each other. They had ideas and they shared them, but then they broke up the tasks and they said, okay, Michael, you get to be the screenplay writer, and Jonah, you're in charge of the filming, and Calvin, you get to edit and put this project together. Now, of course, they couldn't do those completely alone, because it wouldn't work if Michael had written a screenplay that Jonah didn't have the equipment to shoot, or it wouldn't work if Calvin hadn't been able to receive the film and all the footage to put into something that meant something that he could work with in a cohesive sort of way. So these kids were responsible to each other and for each other. They were each responsible for their own parts, but together they did it. In 15 days, they made a movie, and they did all of the tasks that a movie maker does over years of time, space, and unlimited $1 million budgets, but they did it. And they couldn't have done it by themselves. It wasn't the type of task that you can wake up in the morning and do from start to finish. It required that communication, and they did it. They didn't see each other. They didn't all show up at the park and work on it together, but they succeeded. And I am inspired. I had no idea what would happen when I dropped the news that they had 15 days to do this task. And yet they never let me down. And that's the kind of inspiration that I see when I think about each of you, when I see what you've done to help each other in so many different ways. There's a garbage bag company called Hefty, and it says that you're stronger than you think. And I believe that. As I've watched you guys create robots together, as I've watched you organize yourselves for Spirit Bowl, as I've watched you put together the variety of interests that you have, and as I've shown up to your Ultimate Frisbee games, and I've seen the way that you all cooperate with one another to create something bigger than yourselves, I can't help but be inspired by you too. There's a company in Sweden that did an advertisement that said, keep your distance, but stay in touch. And one of the things that I've worried a little bit about during this time of the virus is that technology has been such a gift to us. We couldn't have done this 10 years ago. We couldn't have. When I first started working with ELP, there is no way that within a weekend we could have gone to a virtual learning system. The tools just didn't exist. But with each tool that we acquire in our world, we get some things that are positive, like the ability to learn and grow and watch YouTube videos and Khan Academy, but we also sometimes get some negative things. People feeling lonely because people aren't reaching out to them, or even cyberbullying. And I hope that as you all are thinking about summer, you're thinking about what your next steps can look like, as you're thinking about the different high schools that you're planning to attend, that you'll remember that tools are only as good as we use them for, and that you'll choose to use those tools in ways that make the world a better place. The final advertising group that I've been impressed with is one by Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep. And they say, together we can do this. Our spirit is what unites us. It is what bonds us and reminds us that we are all one. Better days are ahead. I believe that. I don't think we'll be in quarantine for the rest of your lives. But I don't know how soon those better days will arrive. And I want you to take some control. I want you to make some decisions with your intelligence and your talent and your brave souls. I want you to imagine the world that you want to have. I think there's two scenarios in the immediate future. One, I hope this isn't the one that really happens, but one might be that we start school online in the fall. I think that's a real possibility in order to keep us as a global community safe, and you are part of that. And I want you to think about how you will take action. Are you going to wait for your teachers to tell you what to do? Or are you going to find learning experiences and ask for the kind of knowledge and learning experiences that you need? The other thing that I hope happens with all my heart is that we'll be back in those brick and mortar buildings that were built 100 years ago. Can you imagine West High being that old? Students 100 years ago walked in the front doors of that building just like you did last August. But how will this learning experience change you? How will being isolated make the way you walk in those front doors different than the way you did last fall? Or any other high school that you choose as you're walking into those first days of your high school experience. What will you have learned from this isolation time, this online learning time that changes how you experience the next 4 years? I hope that each of you has come to appreciate what having a collaborative experience with people who are as driven and as excited about learning and accomplishing things as you are. I hope that you have come to recognize the strengths of your peers and to appreciate what you can contribute. I'm so proud of you. And it's strange to think that I won't be with the ELPers next year, but I love the theme that your ELP committee has chosen for your promotion. They've chosen near, far, wherever you are. It's poignant and it's hopeful. It doesn't matter whether we see each other every day or whether we're sometimes even around the world. We matter to each other, and we'll all be part of the class, this ELP class of 2020 and the graduating class of 2024, the year of the great pandemic. You are legendary, and I hope that you live up to that. Thank you.